Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone that is watching this video, whether it's morning or afternoon, wherever you are and what time of day you're watching this, or even good night when you get the chance to watch this. Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about how can nurses increase their pay, especially my nurses or international nurses that are living overseas. How can you increase your pay as nurses? Now, it may sound a bit strange, right? Why are you asking or telling nurses how to increase their pay? Nurses that make big money. That's what we all think, and that's something that I'm going to talk about, especially for those who live outside of the US or anything. And this is something that I thought about when I was making this video, that persons normally think that nurses make big money, and there's this thing on social media where we call nurses the big bank, the big money. Yes, I believe that nurses were making big money, and that was in the era of COVID-19, but especially nurses that live outside the United States or any first world country. Whenever you are a nurse back home and you tell people you're going overseas, or when you travel back home and people see you and people ask, like, what are you doing? And you tell them you're a nurse. Oh yeah, I make big money. Now the money can be made, but I don't know how big they think that money is. Sometimes when we talk, people need to understand that when you move to a different country and when you live outside another, yes, the pay looks big when you're converting it to your exchange rate or to the dollar value of your country outside of that country. But what persons don't fail to realize or to do, that big money that you're calculating, do you take cost of living out of it? Taxes, rent, food, if you have children, education, daycare, day-to-day living expenses, moving around, getting a car, paying for your car note, your insurance, all of those things factor in. And that big money that persons think when you're outside of a country can even eventually dwindle down to nothing. And what people fail to understand is that many a times when you move to these countries, you're going to see yourself working either 1 to 2, 3 jobs, or even just constantly doing overtime. And it is something that many persons do, and it's not something that I will bash and say, oh, you have to work hard to do this, but sometimes it is necessary. I'm going to give you an example with myself. When I came here as an international nurse, within my first year, I worked 4 days every week. So normally you should be working like 36 days. That's the norm. That's the required amount, 36 hours per week. But I did 4 days every week for 1 entire year, just to show you that even though that when you leave your country and you come here the initial time, that you ain't gonna be jumping in big money, you ain't gonna be swimming in anything, and you have to make do with what you have and do the necessary things. Now, another thing that I want to talk about that I saw online, that was posted online with this executive, I think it was a nurse executive, and she made a comment. I wanted to put her comment here, but I didn't want any copyright infringement or anything. And she said that one of the biggest advice she could give to any nurse is the importance of job hopping, moving around and not staying long in a job. And that also means when you are doing job hopping, it means, as I said before, not staying too long in a job. And she remembered that, she noted that within over 4 years, she cannot even recall how many places that she have worked, and the increase in her pay that she have seen, and the increase in her experience. And this is an advice that she would give to nursing. Now, that comment garnered so many reviews, so many comments, all of that, and likes. And I jumped on it to say too that I share the same sentiment, that there is importance in job hopping, and I did the same too. And within that space of time, and since I've been in this country, I cannot tell you how much I've seen my pay increase, the different increments that I've seen, and my skills have increased. Now, I'm not making a big walk, I'm not a walking bank or anything, but I can tell you that it is really important to job hop. Meaning that you don't stay in an area or a specialty for too long. Once you get your experience and what is needed, you move along. And I can tell you, I did this recently. I looked at a bag that I had all my IDs in, and I looked back at it and I smiled to myself, and it was quite a lot. Now, somebody else in the comment section then mentioned that nurses should not aspire to do this. No, I love to agree to disagree. The person then went on to say that nurses need to be careful of this, because when persons see that you don't stay too long in a job, they may not want to employ you, and they may look at you wasting their resources. But I didn't respond to that person, but then I looked at it and said to myself that if I was a nurse manager, and when I get a resume of a nurse and I see that this person constantly moves around, I would look at the time frame that they move around and how long they move around. But on the bigger note of it, I'll be looking at what is this individual coming with the unit with, such as experience and skills that I can learn from. Next to that, nursing shortage is everywhere. Everybody wants a nurse right now. Nobody is even really concerned how much jobs you're moving from or whether you're going to stay or not. Many of the times, many of these jobs, when they see you and when you put on your resume on there, them ask you when you can start. And baby, they want you to start now. And many times if somebody, if a facility says to you they want you to start now, that can be breeding a red flag, meaning that they're severely short staffed. But I will encourage persons to learn the art of job hopping. And it doesn't mean that you're going to a job within 3 months, you don't like it, you just move. Go into a facility or any area that is offering opportunities, learn within that specialty, get your experience, but don't become too comfortable in that specialty that you're in. Move on to something else and just go into another specialty and grow. In the period of 3 to 4 years, you'll realize that you have amassed so many experience, so many skills. When you're ready now to move into another area, especially if you want to jump into travel nursing, you're making yourself much more marketable. When you see different rates that are being offered and somebody reaches out to you, you can say, hey, I can do that, I've worked in that area. So you're expanding your reach and making yourself much more marketable, and also having the ability to negotiate your pay. When you're coming with your experience and your skills, you can say, hey, this is what I deem and this is what I want, and that makes you the ability to be marketable and have experience. And that is the art I'm telling persons or nurses how to job hop.